The Deadlock devs have been on it, and they've got another change today, a little patch hotfix that has just rolled out. Want to go over the notes really quickly here, and let you all know what changes are coming to Deadlock today. Hey everyone, this is Connor here at Dead Unlocked, and we've got a lot of changes coming here actually, and honestly, I really like this. We're experimenting more with mid-boss, and we've got some nerfs for currently the game's strongest heroes, which I think, the balancing right now is really, really good. And these three heroes, I think, could have, had a small nerf, so this actually makes a lot of sense. So, let's go through these notes really quickly. If you aren't aware, occasionally on the forums, Yoshi will just respond to an initial post. So this is the, this one up here is the, the really massive patch that went out last week. He made a small amendment to it on the 1st, and then just 53 minutes ago has released this update here. So, let's go through it right now. Rejuv now only drops one crystal again. So we're back to single crystal Rejuv, with each heavy melee hit granting a credit to the team, up to 3 for first bid boss and 4 for subsequent. So, with each heavy melee hit granting a credit. So what this means is that you're going to have one big crystal drop. Let's say there are 2 people, both opposite teams that melee at the same time. Each team is going to get 1 credit. And let's say a third comes in and gets it. And so maybe one team has 2, one team has 1 credit. The way I read this, that's how I understand it. So this is a big, big change. Everyone on the team gains the buff, but whenever an ally dies, they respawn in place, lose the buff, and your team Rejuv credits get reduced by 1. An ally can only consume 1 Rejuv credit, which means if they die again, it won't be that they take... Let's say you have 2. Let's say you have Vindicta that's just out fighting while the mid's happening. She dies immediately after you get mid. She's going to respawn once. If she dies again, she doesn't consume the other credit. Just that initial one's going to go away. The top bar has a UI indicator for how many Rejuv credits remain. When all Rejuv credits are used, the buff disappears for everyone. Buff duration reduced to 4 minutes. Was 7 then 5. Buff reduced from 20% max HP to 15% max HP. And 20% fire rate to 15% fire rate. So this is actually a really cool change, I think. What this does is it puts kind of the ability back for both teams to be able to fight with mid-boss. The one thing here is, with that, this is basically them trying to still keep it to where, it affects the game at a more macro level, but it's not the troopers have to be a part of it. I think this is still a way to get everyone involved in the game, and I think this is a really neat change. I think it needed some work. I think what we've been running on, I've been playing a lot of games where the sentiment is just don't do mid. It's just not worth it. And I think there's some flaws to that line of thinking, at least at my rank, down in Emissary, but who knows? Yeah, otherwise, this is fascinating. I think that what this does is you're going to have teams really having to all-in secure this to make sure they get every little bit of the credit. And it is going to provide some value, though, to send one player in. Maybe you have a Viper, slither in, try and get an ult off, and then steal a credit or 2. Maybe even you send 2 people in to try and steal 2 credits. This creates a lot of kind of like interplay between how you claim mid and then what mid does subsequently. It also puts a heavy team emphasis on it because, like that example I mentioned earlier, if your team gets 1 credit or one of these, I guess they're called credits. You get 1 credit and you have someone inting alone in lane and they die, they lose your credit for your team, and then all of a sudden your team has no buff. So it puts a huge emphasis on once you get these buffs, you need to survive, which is just it's a completely new mechanic, a new way of thinking for mid in the game that I think will actually be really, really interesting, really entertaining. So this one, I don't have a whole lot more to say about it. I just need to get into the game and try it out, honestly. I assume it's live now. I'll need to get in and hop in and try this out a little bit. But I really like the change overall. Next one is just a dash speed change. Dash speed for bucket 3 heroes increased from -15% to -10%. So for those that aren't aware of what I'm talking about here, let me find it. This right here. Heroes now have different dash speeds, same distance, slower to get there. They're placed into 3 buckets to start. We're looking at the bucket 3 heroes now. So Mo, Krill, Abrams, Shiv, Dynamo, Bebop, Kelvin, and McGinnis all get buffed here in their own way. Right, they're going to be a little bit more nimble with getting to where they are trying to go. So that makes sense. I think they felt bad, just how slow you have felt, but I don't think any of those heroes necessarily are weak. So my guess that's going to make a few feel really strong, like a Mo and Krill, Abrams, especially McGinnis is really going to benefit from this, I think, even if it is just 5%. And then we have nerfs coming to 3 heroes that, again, I think really needed them. Not that I don't think that any of them are crazy overtuned. But anyway, and I need to make sure I haven't read these, so I want to make sure I'm presumptively saying they're all nerfs. Let me check it real quick here. So 7 base sprint speed reduced from 2 to 1, base regen reduced from 1.5 to 1, and then base health reduced from 700 to 650. This is just an across the board nerf for 7, regen, health, and sprint speed. That's just them saying overall this character has just continued to feel too strong. It makes sense because of 7's kit. They're just trying to whittle away at him being this like massively high pick rate, high win rate hero. So expect, I mean, this is a good nerf. I think this is really solid. I could even see more coming. It just feels like he gets nerfed every patch because it makes sense. I think Metro's on to something with 7. I mean, I'll give him that. All right, Shiv. Bloodletting cooldown reduced from 45 seconds to 25 seconds. Okay. T1 cooldown increased from 25 seconds to -10. T2 increased from 6% deferred to 10%. Okay. Bloodletting Rage deferred bonus, 14-15. Deferred damage from 20% to 25%. So this actually is a buff to Bloodletting, from how I'm understanding it. I could be wrong here. I could be reading this totally wrong. But this is them, I think, trying to make Bloodletting become more of a part of Shiv's kit, because it is kind of this odd thing right now. And this is also just, I think this is the devs trying to balance what is probably one of the hardest heroes to balance in the game with Shiv. His ult is always going to make him tough to balance. Just the character in general is just very tricky to work around. So this is them probably trying to respond to the massive nerfs they made to his rage bar in the last one, which you can see right here, all those changes, right? So this is them, I think, trying to make him a little bit better. So actually, not a nerf for 7 or Shiv. I think this is a buff. Viper. Gun cycle time increased from 0.063 to 0.07, a nerf. Thank you, devs, for telling me, because I honestly would not have known. Slither T1 slide distance reduced. Headshot crit value reduced from 70 to 80, or 80 to 70, and fix some issues with hitbox inside some areas. So if you've not been playing Deadlock since the most recent little hotfix here, Viper has been really problematic. Has just been able to really effectively split push and cause some havoc. So Deadlock is not a game where we need Viper to be at the top of every tier list and win rate and pick rate. That's just not good for the game, I don't think, for Viper to be at that level. I think Viper should always be kind of a mid-table hero, just based on the kit. I'm trying to think of other examples from games. It's similar to like when Bebop's really good, right? Where it becomes, the workaround and the play around it become pretty one-dimensional. Where for Bebop you buy like a debuff remover kind of thing. For Viper you buy just straight up full bullet resist plated armor, something like that. So in any case, all in all, the thing to talk about here is the mid change. I mean, this is clearly something that they are trying to figure out what they want to do with. I like the experimentation here. I think this is the time to do it, especially because I think, and the development team probably knows this, I mean, the next major change, I think, will have a solidified mid-boss. I think there will be a way that they end up sticking with, and they are trying to find that before a next major update or open beta or whatever it's going to be, right? So I think this is good. Is this it? I don't know. I don't know if the 3 credits thing is the play, because you're gonna have so many games where the people who get the 2 people on your team die so fast, even with the buff for goofy situations, and then mid buff is just gone. And so maybe this is them trying to lower the stakes of mid in general. Maybe this is, again, just another experimentation along the way. I like this, but I don't think it will be what sticks. I think there needs to be something a little bit easier to understand, maybe a little bit more simplified for a mid-boss buff like what we had even before all of this change. I think that what they had at a baseline prior to all the tweaks was good. It just felt like troopers were a little too strong. It was kind of like you get mid-boss, you win. It shouldn't be that, but I don't think mid-boss should be this inconsequential either. So, who knows? I could be wrong, though. I have to get into some games and try this out, and I will report back once I do. But wanted to come on and cover this quickly for you all. I want to make sure we're getting news to our community as fast as we can, so I appreciate you all for tuning in and all the support on the channel. Always have a lot of gratitude over here at Deadlock for you all. I will get more thoughts on kind of some things I think need to come to the patch. I was actually working on that today, and then this came out, so that will get delayed till next week. I have a lot more thoughts. I want to get back to some gameplay content as well. I feel like we've been all leaks over here, and I don't want that to be all the channel does. I love covering them. It's going to be a huge part of what we do is news and leaks. But I do want to get back to some like educational content for beginner players, some build guides, things like that. I put out a poll if you all want to respond to that to let me know what kind of content you want to see. But otherwise, I'm going to go get some games in, try out this mid-boss. So thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, from our house to yours, we'll see you all next time here at Dead Unlocked.